Politicians said legalizing marijuana would cut crime. And it has cut crime by protecting marijuana users from facing penalties. But where it's legal to grow marijuana, drug cartels have moved in. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. After many U.S. states legalized recreational marijuana use, crime has gone way down. At least the crime of smoking recreational marijuana. Although we should criminalize making, "Hey, I smoke pot," your entire personality. Shut up, we get it. But if you thought the trash after a 420 celebration was bad, that's nothing compared to what legalizing marijuana has done to the environment and local crime rates across the country. Law enforcement in Southern Oregon say drug cartels moved into the area after pot was legalized for recreational use in 2015. And with the cartels has come a spike in all kinds of crime, like human trafficking, illegal cannabis growing, and environmental destruction on an industrial scale. These cartels aren't exactly getting licensed to grow marijuana. In November, a raid on 5 warehouses in White City, Oregon, produced 250 tons of illegal marijuana. That's almost enough to last Snoop Dogg a whole week. A sheriff in neighboring Josephine County called that just a drop in the bucket. He says cartels from Russia, China, Mexico, and other countries have set up shop throughout Southern Oregon. And since it's Oregon, I assume those shops sell lots of healing crystals and dream catchers. Along with, tons of illegal marijuana. And hey, I totally get it. Why deal with Customs or Border Patrol when you can grow and sell your own merch right here in the US? Just think of all the money they must be saving on shipping and smuggling. But these illegal cartels are a big frustration to the legal cannabis growers, the ones who pay tax and licensing fees. And what's even more frustrating for the legal growers is the fact that the cartels are using them as cover. Look at all these cannabis farms in Southern Oregon. Can you tell which ones are the legal cannabis farms? Yeah, neither can law enforcement. That is until they get a search warrant. Which is why legalizing growing in the state has made it the perfect cover for the cartels. There are so many cannabis operations, law enforcement can't keep up with regulating them all. It's like playing whack-a-mole after you smoke a bowl. In their 2021 and 2022 budget, Jackson County listed marijuana-related code enforcement as the most significant issue facing the county. And you know their enforcement budget is tight just by looking at this cover design of their official budget. The sheriff had to get his 8-year-old daughter to make it in Microsoft Paint. So these drug cartels are wreaking havoc not just on the legitimate competition, but also on local communities who are seeing more of other types of crime. Jackson County Sheriff Nathan Sickler told Oregon lawmakers they've had stabbings, robberies, thefts, burglaries, homicides, sex crimes, motor vehicle accidents, and DUIs, all related to the influx of the marijuana cannabis industry. As opposed to Portland, where all those crimes are committed in the name of woke moral outrage. And it's not just Oregon where the cartels have moved in after the state legalized marijuana.
On this raid, law enforcement uncovers a whopping stash. The home's second floor converted into a weed greenhouse, jam-packed with plants.
This is 100% black market marijuana destined for the East Coast.
Who's behind this?
Well, the vast majority of people that we come across at these grows are Cuban nationals. They're organized drug trafficking organizations who come to Colorado to grow their marijuana.
Here in Southern California, the U.S. Forest Service is tackling a problem so alarming, they want the public to see what they're up against. A dangerous cat-and-mouse battle with ruthless Mexican drug cartels that are running hundreds, perhaps thousands of illegal marijuana farms on federal forest land.
Investigators saying the illegal grows are run by cartels from Mexico, even China, who bring in workers illegally across the border.
Who's coming out?
This group, originally from Laos, say they came from Wisconsin a week ago.
That's right, it's not just the locals who are victims. It's also the people they're trafficking or hiring to run their operations. This is the worst weed-related crime against humanity I've heard since the last Fish album. I'll tell you more about these narco-slaves after the break. Welcome back. And before I go on, I just want to remind you to make sure you're still subscribed to America Uncovered. YouTube has been secretly unsubscribing people from the channel, so it's always a good idea to check periodically to make sure you're still subscribed. And while you're at it, hit the bell icon so you'll get notified when we publish new episodes. All right, so back to illegal marijuana growing. Drug cartels from Mexico and China have swooped in to take advantage of states that have legalized marijuana. And they're also exploiting migrants, which is terrible, because exploiting migrants is what shady American business owners do. These illegal drug cartels are coming to our country and taking our white-collar jobs. In that raid of the 5 warehouses in Southern Oregon I mentioned earlier, some 100 people were interviewed, and several of them were reportedly migrants living on site in squalid conditions.
Reports from authorities who enter illegal grows consistently describe desperate worker conditions, including minimal sanitation, workers living in containers or camping in the fields. Sometimes we see children on site.
The sheriff of neighboring Josephine County told the Epoch Times they're afraid that the cartels will kill them or their families back home, so they don't talk to law enforcement. These migrants were found during a raid on an illegal marijuana farm in San Bernardino County, California, earlier this year.
She says she just got here before dawn from Sacramento. She's from the Dominican Republic, and he is from Mexico. There is no other field work. He echoes the others. The conditions some of these field people are living in are horrendous. You can see the outside. Follow me in here. Now, I wish you could smell this, because it's the smell of urine, it's the smell of decay. And take a look in here. This is where these people are living at.
That's horrible. And coincidentally enough, add a black light and those are the exact same living conditions as all my stoner friends from college. That was their choice, though. No one should be forced to live this way. Last year, Colorado's Attorney General said that cases of illegal marijuana growing have increased 4-fold since 2012, when the state legalized pot. You heard that right. Illegal growing has skyrocketed now that growing pot is legal. And he said these illegal pot operations often break the law in other ways.
Recently, we just took an action involving a front for massage parlors involved in human trafficking, money laundering, and illegal cannabis sales.
But wait, there's more.
It was complaints from area residents, particularly farmers, having water stolen that alerted law enforcement.
Armed cartel members out here in the high desert stealing water in the middle of the night has become a common sight. They're breaking off fire hydrants, and I know the city of Lancaster and Palm, in fact, you guys got rid of a lot of fire hydrants.
Depriving innocent civilians of water? Who do these cartel members think they are? Nestle?
Electricity, that's also stolen in dangerously rigged up setups with cables running all over.
So this is the camp, huh?
It's pretty much a tunnel of trash.
Littered with toxic pesticides, many illegal in the U.S.
This is in highly concentrated form, so you would dilute this probably 100-fold before you would actually use it.
But they're not doing that.
No, absolutely not.
In fact, the amount of pesticides found at just this site are potent enough to kill dozens of people.
These are some of the most toxic chemicals you could ever use on crops.
Another concern, the pesticides don't stay put.
This is sandy soil. The next heavy precipitation event is just going to slough all this off into the San Juan Creek. Over 50% of California's water originates on national forest lands. So this site is supporting municipalities where people drink their water.
That's the most toxic thing I've seen on weed since literally any DJ. In Los Angeles, police have started shutting down illegal pot shops by shutting off their utilities, which is also how LA shut down parties violating COVID restrictions last year. If only LA would also shut off the utilities to the biggest crime happening in LA, the production of young Sheldon. Bazinga! LA's mayor estimated that the increase of the city's illegal cannabis enforcement will go from around $3 million this fiscal year to around $30 million. And back in Jackson County, Oregon, where illegal pot operations have overwhelmed law enforcement, State Representative Pam Marsh estimates that law enforcement will need $7.3 million annually just to deal with illegal pot farming. That would essentially be doubling the county's entire budget for law enforcement. But don't worry, the state is raking in tons of money from taxing marijuana. The state estimates that this fiscal year it will take in $178 million in taxes on pot. And that doesn't even include the local revenue, or what Snoop Dogg spends when he visits. So there shouldn't be a problem, right? It's not going to be like Colorado.
In 2017, your state took in nearly $250 million in taxes and fees from the marijuana industry. But local law enforcement says that not enough of that is getting back into the departments. Is the state doing enough to stop this?
I would actually ask them that question. I would turn it back to them and say, tell us how we can help more.
They're telling you, they say they need more resources.
Well, they're not telling me that.
To be fair, when you see images like this of militarized police in Colorado, the first thing that pops in your head isn't they clearly need more resources. Jackson County, Oregon has a population of over 200,000 people, but its jail has space for less than 300. Law enforcement has been asking for a new jail for years, but last year the county's residents voted down a measure to build a new jail. Law enforcement says the limited jail space makes it hard to enforce the law.
So when defendants know that there isn't any jail space to hold them, they really have little or no incentive to show up for court. So we have offenders who have failed to appear 30, 40, 50 times.
There's a simple, obvious solution here. Law enforcement should just ask Santa for a new jail. Don't be naughty, officers. So could policymakers have predicted all these side effects of legalizing pot? More on that after the break. Welcome back. No one could have possibly predicted that legalizing marijuana would bring in a huge illegal drug cartel industry, except the drug cartels. Let's look at Mexico. Members of the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most powerful cartels in North America, told the Daily Beast that it planned to infiltrate the legal pot market using front organizations if marijuana were legalized in Mexico. And it was effectively legalized there in June. The Daily Beast writes, the result could be even greater profits for the gangland bosses to spend on weapons, buying off politicians, and growing their criminal empire. And you know what else they're doing? They're trying to make a more potent strain of marijuana that will give Made in Mexico a whole new meaning. They see this as their edge in what is a now more crowded market. They have to do something to compete with Jaleel White's Purple Urkel. Yes, this is real. Lawmakers in California understand this problem, which is why some lawmakers wanted to slash pot taxes to help the regulated American growers compete with the black market. Other strategies to deal with the problem include calling on the federal government, which is fun because marijuana is still illegal on the federal level. So when they see legal and illegal growers, their response is probably just, they're the same picture. At a House Judiciary meeting in October, an Oregon representative asked U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland to send more federal resources to places like Southern Oregon. California Governor Gavin Newsom has brought in the National Guard to combat illegal pot farming. And that's also been a popular idea among Oregon residents. Jackson County, Oregon declared a state of emergency in October over the issue, and some residents asked the state to send in the National Guard. So what do you think states do? Do you think marijuana should be decriminalized across the country, or do you think banning it in states again would be better? Let us know in the comments below. And before you go, I want to give a big thank you to all the fans who support us on Patreon. We couldn't do this show without you. And if you're not already a supporter on Patreon, head over to patreon.com/AmericaUncovered and see all the cool perks that come with membership. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.